You're going to start with a blank workbook. You're going to go to data, get data, from file, from folder. Here we're going to look for that folder. It's in my desktop, demo 2022 December. Double click there, and I'm going to look for my folder share files. That's my folder. And I'm going to say, okay. I'm going to press Ctrl+C+, and because I opened those files, they seem to be recognized as open still. So you can see that the files I have my three, zone 1, 2, and 3, but I also have these 3 other ones, which have that tilde at the beginning, right? And the $sign. Well, we need to filter this information to avoid bringing both files because the information is going to be duplicated. For Power Query, this file with the tilde in front is a different name, therefore a different file, and it will bring the information from both, and we don't want that. We are going to transform this information. We are not going to combine it. We cannot combine it because the columns are all over the place. And when we combine, all the tables are going to be copied one after another, and that's not going to work with what we have. I cannot load or load to because my information is not ready to do that. So I'm going to transform. I'm going to select transform data. The Power Query editor will open, and here I have the information, my query that is called share files. I'm going to press Ctrl+C+ to zoom in a little bit. And I have these 2 queries that I already had. So I'm going to right-click, new group, and I'm going to call this group solved, just to move those queries away, and they are not on the way. So I'm going to select my 2 queries, and I'm going to drag them to that folder solved. Now here I have my share files query. So Power Query name my query as the name of the folder. So I can leave it like that, or I can say solved live. I just press F2 or double click to edit and change the name. Now here I have the information that I need, and as I told you, this information is duplicated. So let's filter. Let's start filtering the extension first. Right click, transform, lowercase, uppercase, lowercase, doesn't matter. We need just consistency to make sure that all this information will be captured when I'm applying my filters. Power Query is case sensitive. For that reason, I need to make sure that this information is presented properly or consistent. So all uppercase or lowercase, but all of them, right? So I'm going to right click in Excel SX, text filter equals. With this, if someone saves a PDF file or TXT or CSV in my folder, I won't bring those files here. And you can see the code that Power Query has created for us. Is using the table select rows function. It needs a table that is coming from the previous step, comma, and is processing the following, is using the each word, keyword as that we use as function, and or abbreviation for a function, let's say a friendly name for a function, a friendly word for a function, and it's bringing the information from the extension column, and it's bringing only those items that are equal to XLSX, okay? Since I can use, well, let me go to the next column. I'm gonna use the filters on top. I'm gonna click on this arrow. I'm gonna go text filter, does not begin with, and does not begin with the tilde. And I'm gonna add that. Also, I want that my files contain or start with the word zone and begins with zone. And I'm going to put zone in lowercase in purpose. And then you will see that my table has nothing to bring. And that is because I put zone with in lowercase. So let me just do something here. I'm going to Shift Enter, and then control the square bracket, the one that close square bracket. So I'm gonna say here is no, the text does not begin with the tilde, and also the text starts with zone. With this function text start with, I have the option to add one more parameter or one more argument. After zone, I'm gonna say comma, and I'm gonna ask the function to ignore ordinal compare ordinal ignore case. Click there, and by doing this, it will ignore the capital Z in my files that it says zone. So I'm gonna press enter, and now you can see that my files zone 1, 2, and 3 are here. Okay. Now that I see that I can use several criteria in my filter, what I'm gonna do, I have this step with this function table select rows, and this step with the same function. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add this criteria where I'm asking Power Query to bring the files XLSX from the extension column. So I'm gonna go to my next step, and I'm gonna add that to here. So I have this criteria, I have the first criteria, the second, and I'm gonna add a third criteria. And here I'm gonna say, and oh, there we go. I missed one shift enter, control this closing square bracket, and I'm gonna paste what I just copied from the previous step, which I'm saying that bring the information that is equal to x less x. I'm gonna press enter. And function, let me see. Let me delete this previous step and see what happens. And if I still have an issue, let me see what the issue is. So I'm gonna say and we cannot convert the value type function to type logical. What did I do? Okay, I'm missing one parenthesis here. Right here. So X start with right here, and extension equal to XLSX. I'm gonna press enter, and now it works. So I deleted the previous step because I'm incorporating that filter here in this step, which is using exactly the same function that I was using in the previous step. Okay, excellent. Now I have this information ready. I just want to keep the column content and the column name. So what I'm gonna do here in this same step, after the parenthesis that is closing the table select rows, I'm gonna just give one space. I'm gonna open double square bracket, and the first square bracket will have content. That is the first column that I want to keep. I go out of the first closing square bracket. I put a comma because I want to select another column, and the other column will be name. Make sure that you write this name in the same way that the header is spelled, because otherwise you will have an issue. If you write name with all lower cases, Power Query won't find that column. It needs to be exactly the same way as the header name, okay? I'm gonna press enter, and by doing this, I just keep my two columns, the ones that I want to work with, okay? Excellent. And I can see here very quickly, hello, Yerly, thank you so much for joining. Muchas gracias por acompañarnos. Thank you so much. Very appreciated. Thank you. Hi, Kasim. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate that you joined. Thank you. No worries. I'm going slowly. You probably have seen this already in other sessions, so I'm just warming up. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. Hola, Eduardo. Hi, Eduardo. Thank you so much for joining. Very appreciated that you are here. Muchas gracias, de verdad, aprecio mucho. Thank you. And he is saying hello to everybody. Thank you so much, Eduardo. You already saw this in the other channel, but I hope you find something that you probably miss in the other ones. I hope you enjoy this one as well. Thank you so much. Okay, perfect. Now, I want to start transforming my column content. I want to start transforming this information that is coming as binary. So, and let me move a little bit more so I can give you more space on the screen. So from here, I'm just quickly I'm gonna rename my steps. I'm gonna select the step, press F2, and I'm gonna just keep it as filter and lowercase. I know what they mean, but I like to keep my code as clean as possible. For that reason, I keep it as short as possible and also without the spaces, so Power Query doesn't have to add that hashtag and those quotation marks when I have two words and I have a space between those words, or when I have specific characters that Power Query needs to identify as text, not as commands to process a function or an operation, okay? Okay, now that I have this, I'm gonna add a new step. So I'm gonna click here where the FX is. If you don't have the formula bar visible, you can go to view and make sure that formula bar has a check mark there. So now that I created a new step, it's bringing me the information from the previous step, which is this table, and that's the table that I want to work with. After the equal, I'm gonna say table transform columns. Columns. I'm gonna open parentheses, and it's gonna ask me for a table. I have this table that is coming from the filter step. That is correct. I'm gonna press comma. What is the operation that I want to process? And also I need to provide this as list. Remember that for Power Query, the list, we need to indicate to Power Query that this is a list through curly brackets, curly braces. And I need to tell Power Query which column I want to transform. And that's going to be the content column. That's, you are going to provide quotation marks for that. And I'm going to press comma. And what is the transformation that I want to process here? Now I'm going to say each. And I'm going to say that the transformation that I want to do is I want to get the information from this Excel workbook. Click there, open parentheses. What is that workbook? Well, that workbook is coming from this column, every single line of this column. So to indicate that I want to look into every single line, I'm providing the underscore inside of the parentheses or brackets. I go to the end. After the curly bracket is closing, then I go to the end and I close the parentheses and I'm going to press enter. By doing this, now I have the tables. It doesn't say binary anymore, it says table. And now we can see the content of those tables. In this case, all my files have sheet. They don't have tables yet, or the information is coming as sheet. Power Query will convert that into a table to work with or to transform them. But the source is coming as sheet. Remember that in our files, we may have tables, we may have ranges, we may have sheets. So in this case, what we are going to do, I'm going to make sure that it's going to bring, always is going to bring sheets. Just in case that at one point, some of the files that I saved in that folder have a table that might not be the one that I want to use, right? So I can filter that here. So where it says table transform columns, filter, I'm indicating which column I want to transform, and I'm providing the transformation through this function, right? Well, let me expand this. After the equal, shift enter, control close and square bracket, and I'm gonna say here, I'm gonna grab this within the table, select rows, open parentheses, is going to ask me for a table. The table is the result of this function, Excel workbook. And what is the condition? So the condition is that each element that is within or inside of my kind column must equal sheet. So I'm going to open the square bracket. I'm going to say kind. Make sure that you spell that correctly. And I'm going to say equal sheet. And I'm missing the quotation marks. I'm gonna go to the end and I'm gonna press enter. And I did something wrong because the parentheses should have been here before the curly brackets, and then I have my closing parentheses for the table transform columns. I press enter and that works. Of course, nothing happens here because all of them are sheets, but let me show you what happens if I change this for table. I'm gonna say table, I go to the end and I press enter. I go and look for the content of these tables, and I have nothing because none of these files have table on the column kind. If I change this table to sheet, that is the kind of information that is going to be in that specific tab. So now you can see that they are back. Now we have sheet, and so on. Okay. Well, I filtered that information. So the first step of my process is done, right? Now, let's go and let's expand the content of our column content. So I'm going to click at these two rows, the ones that are facing opposite sides, and I'm going to remove the use original column as name as prefix. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep the name because that is the name of the tabs. And remember that the tabs have the name of the store. So I have that already there. I have that also on the title of the report, but the title of the report says table, store, blah, 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 sales, store one, sales, store two, sales. I don't want to be dealing with that. And then I would need to do more steps or I could need to process more steps to get that information from each file. I have it here already as the name of the tab. So I might as well just keep that column from these tables that are coming from my column content. So I'm going to keep that and I'm going to keep the column data. That is where the information is coming in a form of table. So I'm going to say, okay. And now you can see that here, that column name that has been renamed as name one because I already had one column name here. So that column has the name of my stores. I have my column data, and that column has the information from my sheet. Let me hide that a little bit. Let me move this to the top. So you can see that the first stores don't have a blank space between column one and store. But then when I go down a little bit more, you can see that now I have the title here of that report. I have nodes because I have empty rows. And then I have the headers for the columns. And as I said, all the tables will have the first column, which has the item number. So we are going to use that to transform this information and remove everything on the top, everything that is above item. Okay, so here, let me quickly rename this custom. That is where I said extract content or transform content. And I'm going to just rename my next step. And this is where I expanded. I'm going to just leave it like that. Okay. Excellent. So let me start transforming that. Let me start removing anything that is above the line where it says item. So it's going to be very simple. We have done that before. So hopefully it's not that repetitive, but it helps us just to remember some of the steps that we have seen here. So I'm going to create a new step. From there, I'm going to say equal table transform columns again. This function is super useful. Really, it has been a lifesaver for me, and I use it now all the time. So it's asking me for a table. The table is coming from the previous step, the transformation. As we saw, I'm gonna open curly brackets. Curly brackets. I open the quotation marks, and what I want to transform is the column data. I'm gonna press comma. After that, I need to provide the transformation. The transformation is each. Is the keyword for a function, and I'm gonna say table skip. I want to skip. I want to ignore or remove anything that is on top of item. So the table is coming from this column data. So these tables, for that reason, I'm providing the underscore because I want that Power Query look into every single line. And I'm gonna say, comma, what is the condition or the count? I cannot provide a count because all of them or several files start the word item or the title item in different lines. So I cannot provide a number, but what I'm going to provide is the condition. And here I'm going to say each. I'm going to provide the square brackets to say that each element on the column, look into the elements in the column, in column 1, and remove anything that is not equal to item. Close parentheses for table skip, close curly brackets for the transformation, go to the end and close parentheses for the table transform columns and press enter. Now you can see that none of these files have any information above item. So the first line in every single file is item, okay, in column 1. So now that we have this, well, let's promote the first line as headers because all of them have this. So here on the same step, we're going to expand this. And what I'm going to do, Shift Enter and Control closing square bracket. So, what did I do? Okay, perfect. I'm going to grab this information. I'm going to grab all this. Let me just move this down. And I'm going to say, I'm going to grab this in table promote headers. Open parentheses. What is the table that I want to promote that or do that? Is the result of the table skip. I'm going to close parentheses for the table promote headers. I'm going to press this check mark. And now every single file has the first line promoted as headers. Excellent. We're making a lot of progress right here. So before I continue or before I incorporate the name of the store and the name of the zone inside of these tables, what I'm going to do, I am going to unpivot other columns in every single table. Sometimes when I don't remember the code or all the elements that I need to provide for certain functions, then what I do, I create a temporary step. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to select this column, name 1, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to say unpivot other columns. This doesn't make any sense, which is fine. I just want to copy this code, and I'm going to Control C. I'm going to remove this step, and I'm going to create a new step. I can do that here. I should be able to do this here. Just let me check my solution just to make sure that I did the unpivoted in the same, in a new step. Oh, look, I did it in the same step. Okay. I can do it in the same step, or I can create a new step. It will be up to you. If it gets confusing, I recommend that you do it in 2 steps. If you feel comfortable modifying the code, you can do it in the same step. So it's very simple because we're going to grab all this information just as we have been doing before. I'm going to grab all of this as the table that we need to provide to the table unpivot other columns function. So after this each, I'm going to give another Shift Enter, and I'm going to go to this side. And before I do that, I'm going to grab this one here. I need to make some room at the bottom to paste the code that I copied from the other the step that I deleted. And that is because I'm going to grab this information. I want to grab this function, table unpivot other columns, Control X. I'm going to paste that here, Control V. Open parentheses. I need to provide a table. In that case, the table came from the step custom. In this case, the table is coming as a result of this function. Okay. So that will be my table, comma. What did I do? Did I press comma? That will be comma. My next step is which column am I gonna keep as the one on the left, right? So in this case, let's say if this was the table that I wanted to unpivot other columns, name.1 is the one that I want to keep on the left. Well, in our case, the column that we need to keep on the left will be the column that is called item. That is the column that we need. Then, after that, for the unpivot other columns, I'm going to say, comma. If I have more columns that I want to keep on the left, then I will provide this information as a list. That's why the curly brackets, that's what the function is asking me to do. Let me do this. So it's asking me to provide the pivot columns as list. In this case is 1, but if I have more, then I provide more names inside of these curly brackets. Now, what is the attribute or attribute column as text? The attribute column is given me here as attribute. In my case, will be attribute or it will be year, right? And then the next one, the values, right? And that's the one with the amount. That will be sales. Our query gives us attribute for default and value. We can change those names for year and for sales, and it will work. So let me delete this. That helped me just to get the code correctly and the structure of the code correctly. And let's see what happens. Okay. And I'm just missing one parenthesis, I believe. And clear here. Yeah. And I'm going to press enter. And let's see what happens. It worked. I'm so glad. Okay. Perfect. Now you can see that we have the item number on the left, the year in the next column, all the years are coming there, and the sales amounts are coming on the third column in every single file. So we can see that now it doesn't matter the name of the columns with the years. It doesn't matter how many years we have. We have all the years in one column only. Perfect. Now that I have this information here, I am ready to get the name of the store and the name of the zone inside of every single table. So we're going to do this. We have seen this already in other lives, but let's practice because Power Query is what it is. Practice, practice, practice. Okay. So I'm going to add a new step, pressing FX. Let me just rename my previous step, and I'm just gonna say unpivoted. I know that I am at that point unpivoted in that step, so I'm gonna go back to my custom 2, and I'm gonna say this one is gonna be add store zone. Here after the equal, this is my new step, right? So after the equal, I'm gonna say table transform columns. Actually, I know this one gives me troubles, so I'm going to use table add column. Table add column. Open parentheses. It's asking me for a table. Is this table that we are seeing here, which is coming from the previous step? I'm going to press comma. The new name of the column, I'm going to call that final within quotation marks. After that, I'm going to say comma. And what is what I want to process in this new column? Well, I want that this new column add the column to every single table on my column data or from my column data. So I'm going to say each, please process the following: table add column, open parentheses, the table is coming from my column data, open square brackets, data, comma, and then what do I want to do there? The name of the new column inside of those tables. that column will be called store space zone. After the quotation mark, comma, what is the function, what is the operation that I want to process in that column? Well, in that column, I want to get the name of the store and the name of the zone inside. So what I'm gonna do is, remember that we cannot use the each keyword again, because we are talking about two different environments. This table is one environment. The tables inside this column data are another environment. When I tell Power Query that I want to add a column with information from one column in specific, if I use the each keyword, then it will look for the columns that are in the same environment. And of course, the column name.1 and column name are not included in the table inside of the data column, okay? For that reason, I need to use square brackets, equal and greater than. So I'm telling Power Query, this is a function, and I need to provide a parameter. The parameter can be a word, can be a letter. I always use X. It's just very easy for me to do that. And what I want to do, I want to introduce the column name.1 ampersand, because I want to combine that. I want to put it together. And I'm gonna add a pipe, ampersand again, and I'm gonna add that with the column name. So what I'm doing here, or I'm trying to do, I'm hoping it will work properly. You know, sometimes I have surprises. Oh, yeah, I missed one parenthesis. I try to expand this, and I just, it's like if I had pressed enter. So what I'm trying to do here, let me put this one down. So the operation that I want to do inside of that new column, inside of these tables from the column data, I want to add the name of the store that is coming from the name.1 column, and I want to separate that information through a pipe, and then I want to also have the information that is coming from my column name, which is the zone. Here I have that new column that I created in this environment, and now let's look for that new column that we add to the environment for the tables on the data column. And here we can see that now we have that information in a new column that it says store zone, and it has the name of the store and the zone. Let's look for another one. And for example, here is store 4. We have store 4, and this is zone 2. But I don't want to have the extension as part of the name of the zone. Well, let's go back to our formula bar. So here I'm passing the name of that file as is. So what I can say here, I'm gonna add a function. I'm gonna say text before delimiter. I want to bring only the text that is before a delimiter. I'm gonna open parentheses. The text will come from my column name, comma. What is the delimiter? The delimiter is open quotation marks, dot. The delimiter is this dot that is separating the name of the zone or the name of the file and the extension. So I want that Power Query brings the text before that delimiter. That delimiter is the dot. And let me see, close parentheses for the text before delimiter, close parentheses for the table add column inside of the tables, and close parentheses for the table add column on this table. So I'm going to press enter. And now let's see. And now the XLSX is gone, including the dot. So perfect. I have the information that I need now there. Now that I have that information here, let me create a new step. And yeah, let's create a new step here. I'm gonna, after the equal, I'm gonna go and say table transform columns. Open parentheses. I need a table. The table is coming from my previous step. Add store zone. Go to the end, comma. What is the transformation? Remember to provide that as a list. So curly brackets. Open quotation marks. I need to provide the name of the column that I'm going to be transforming. That's going to be my final column, the column that I just add, comma, and is this column, final. Now, what is the operation that I need to process on this specific column? So I'm going to say each. And I want to table split. I don't remember. Table split column, this one. Oh, let's see if I remember correctly this code. Let me try, otherwise we come back and do the same. We split just one column and then we take the code from there and then we just use it. But let's try. So the table will come from this column final. So I need to look in every single line of this column to look for those tables, comma. And what I need to do there, the source column as text, the source column will be zone space, oh no, I think I said store space zone, comma, the splitter by split by delimiter. This is the part that is always a little bit confusing to me, but let's say after the each, I'm gonna put this down, and the splitter, open parentheses, the splitter will be quotation marks, and the delimiter is the pipe. And I think that's all. I don't remember columns. Oh yeah, the columns, the two columns that I'm gonna, because I'm gonna split, I have two elements that are joined by that pipe. So the first column will be store. And the second column, comma, the second, oh, then let me provide this as a list. And this is the part as well that I'm not 100% sure that I'm providing the structure or the syntax correctly. Or I'm writing this right. So the other one will be zone. Let me close the curly brackets, close the parentheses for the table split column, close the curly brackets, and close the parentheses for the table transform columns. Let's see. Oh, yes, it worked. Excellent. Okay, we have the store and we have the zone on their own columns. So it worked. Perfect. We are ready to expand this. We didn't need any function to transform all these tables. So we have now the same thing that we had back then and 9 months ago from what I'm seeing. But by the way, I didn't plan this, but I'm using exactly the same top. So, so my top has at least 9 months. So this video where I share how to do it through a custom function, we did exactly the same. We're gonna get exactly the same output, but we are gonna have it without that specific custom function. So here I'm gonna say split store zone. Now that I know that my column final is the one that I want to keep. So after the parentheses that is closing the table transform columns, I'm gonna open double square bracket and I'm gonna say final. Press enter. I missed the L. Now it should work. So I can keep this. Thank you, Eduardo. Thank you. Gracias por las porras. Gracias. Thank you very much. So now I have only one column and I just want to combine all the information in every single table of this column. So I'm going to create a new step, fx. After the equal, I'm going to say table combine. Open parentheses for before split store zone because it's going to ask me for a table or tables as list. okay? So we saw that in order for us to keep a column, we provide double square brackets. When we want to have a list from a table, I refer to the step of that process in this case, or to that query when I'm working with an external query with other queries. So I can provide that name. And then I provide only one set of square brackets that will give me a list. Two square brackets will give me a column. One square bracket will give me a list. So in this case, I will say final inside of that. And I'm going to close parentheses and I'm going to press enter like magic. All the information is here. Combine item, year, sales, store, and so on. I have 6 stores and I have 3 zones. I have the years from 2017 to 2021 and I have all the items, right? So we accomplished the same thing than back then in 9 months without working with custom functions, which for some people are still a little bit unsure to use custom functions, don't feel that comfortable. This could be an option to combine to transform this information from different layouts, different name of files, different sheet names. So we can accomplish this just by working with these nested tables. So I'm going to go home, close and load to, and I can bring this information to a pivot table if I want, but let me create connection only for now, only create connection. Just in case sometimes I work with several queries, I don't want all those queries to come as tabs, right? So I want to make sure that I'm gonna bring only information that I want. So in this case, I create a connection only. So from the solve live query, I'm gonna right click, I'm gonna say load to, I wanna select pivot table now. On the existing worksheet, B2 is correct for me, and I'm gonna say okay. I'm going to bring the item on the rows, the year on the columns, the sales on the values. I can also bring the stores. Instead of the items, I can bring the stores and I can bring the zones if that helps. So I can make it as dynamic and as easy as possible for me and for my users. So I'm going to remove the grand total. I don't need it. Let me make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to right click where it says grand total. I'm going to remove grand total. I'm going to right click on any of the numbers inside of the pivot table and I'm going to say number format. I'm going to select number, use thousand separators. I don't like decimals. I'm going to say okay. Excellent. I'm going to go to design, report layout, showing tabular form. And last thing that I like to do, view, remove the grid lines, and it looks much cleaner, I could say, in my eyes. Okay.